السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is أ.علي الأغا talking. How are you, my dear students? I hope you are doing well. So today is the first reading to course lecture. So in this lecture or in this presentation, I will talk about different reading skills and strategies, why we use it and how we use it during the reading or after the reading. So as I have promised you before that I'll provide you with quotation about reading every lecture. So today quotation states that reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. So what is reading skills? So the skills, it's the ability to look at and understand the meaning of written words. So the first reading skills we have scanning. So what is scanning? Scanning means looking quickly over text to find specific information, such as a name, date, or fact. Why should we scan a text? Because it saves time. We can quickly find the specific facts by scanning a text. How do you scan a text? Think about information you need. Then quickly move your eyes over the text looking for the important words or numbers. So the second skill of reading is taking notes. Why should you take notes? Taking notes as you read helps you organize and remember important ideas and information. So how do you take notes from a text? When you take notes, you write only the most important words and ideas, like the main topics and details, or if you are reading a story, the order of events. But you don't you don't need to rewrite the complete sentences. So the third reading skill is previewing. So the word preview means to look before. When you preview a reading, you look it over before you start to read. So previewing prepares us to read the text. When we are prepared, a text sounds easier to understand, because it allows us to set a purpose for the reading. So why we are reading this specific text? We will think about what we already know about the topics. For example, if we are talking about a scientific text, so if we have previous information, we'll already call it from our brains or our cognitive frames and schemata. So also it helps us to decide how we want to read the text. So how do we preview a reading? There are different ways to do. So first, read the title of the article. Ask yourself a question about the title and guess the answer. Look at the picture and guess what the reading is about. So you can also read the first sentence of each paragraph. So if you are having 5 paragraphs, you can read the first and try to connect the ideas in your head. Then set a purpose for reading. Think about what you want to learn from the reading. Write your ideas as questions. The third reading skill we will learn during this course. I know this skills might sound a bit difficult, but we will do it practically, inshallah. Why are context clues? Sometimes you can guess the meaning of unfamiliar words by looking at the context, the surrounding words or nearby sentence, because the context gives us clues or helpful information about the meaning of the unfamiliar words. So, for example, if you see the underlined sentence here, so I grade people differently depending on the situation. in a formal situation such as a job interview, so if we highlight this sentence, we can simply guess that the job interview is an example of formal situation. That's it. So moving to the second example of using context clues, the movie was hilarious. I laughed out loud during the movie. So simply we can guess the meaning of this word if we don't know before, as it's funny because it's already mentioned that I laughed loudly. So if I do not laugh, so the movie was not funny. So look at the cause and effect relationship. So see this example. These streets are very narrow, and the trees along the streets are very close to each other. So the shade from the trees helps keep the street cool. So if you simply don't know the word shade, what does it mean? So the shade means in Arabic تظل. So how we came to understand the meaning of this word? By knowing simply the cause of the shade. So the trees along the streets are very close to each other, so the shade happened. The fifth reading skill we'll learn during this course is identifying the main idea and details. What are the main idea and details? Main idea are the most important idea in a piece of writing, and there's a detail support and make clear the main ideas. So generally one sentence in a paragraph usually states the main idea. The rest of the sentences give details of the supporting ideas. So why it is important to identify the main idea and details? Because it helps us to understand the writer's meaning. So the sixth skill we have is making inference. So it's simply an educated guess. When you make an inference, you look at the evidence and draw a conclusion. For example, here the evidence, your friend is crying. So you can infer directly she is unhappy, because if she is happy, she will not cry. Why should we make inference as we read? In fact, writers don't always state an opinion or an important idea directly. Instead, readers must infer or guess the writer's idea from details. Look at the following example. So if we see in the details that it is difficult to find water in Sahara Desert, we can simply infer that there's probably aren't a lot of trees because there is no water, as we know that tree grows on water. So, or it's difficult to live in the desert. Therefore, you need to take water with you when you travel to the desert. Reading skill number 7, which is predicting. Simply, it is saying what you think will happen next. So why should we make prediction as we read? Making prediction helps us read actively. When we make a prediction, then you read to check your prediction. Simply, you just make a prediction, then read to check your prediction of the text. So, after we finish the skills, which we learn, how can you become a good reader? So what is the merit of good readers? Good readers always find what is going to happen next. Simply can figure out things that aren't there. Using these strategies before and during reading can help the reader to make a prediction about what happens next or what you are going to learn. Also, good readers recognizes words without using context. When the reader has to sound words, he will not have a chance to figure out the meaning of the word. Also, good reader self-correct their misunderstanding by using context. So if you predict that it's going to happen next, the situation, while you read, you will find that this misunderstanding will be clear. Good reader also will find the correct place and time to read. So let's move now to the reading strategies and the definition of reading strategies. So the reading strategy is the planned and explicit action that helps you as a reader to translate the printed material to meaning, so the printed box or writing. So the strategies used in reading actually happens in as you can see, in 6 stages: during, so before, or during, or after reading. So you start with the predicting what will happen next, and you will start to decode, to understand the unfamiliar words, clarify, question yourself during reading the text. Then you will visualize by looking for the tables, chart, and other things. Then you summarize. Normally summarization happens by writing the main idea using your own words. So the first stage of the process is called the predict or infer strategies. So how this strategy happens, you simply think about the title. Look at the title, look at the illustrations, graphs, tables, charts, whatever, and what you have read so far, until what you think will happen next or what you think you will learn. Think about what you already know about the subject may help you. Try to figure out things the author does not say it directly. The second stage in the process of reading is called decoding. Good readers sound out words. They simply cover parts of the word to help them see the base of the word. So you can just simply hide the suffixes that surround the word and look the words that belong to the family they already know. They already have memorized a lot of easy words. They don't have to sound those ones out any longer. You simply look carefully at the word, look for word bar that you know, and you think about the sound for the letters. Then again, blend the sound to read the full words and ask yourself, is this a word you know? If not, ask yourself, what else can I try? We'll move to the third phase in the process, which is called clarify or monitoring. So good readers read a sentence when they don't understand it. This strategy is helpful during reading because it helps the students to clarify what they about their confusion when they are reading. So how to monitor yourself? Ask yourself if what you are reading makes sense, or if you are learning what you need to learn. Again, if you don't understand something, reread. Look at the illustration or simply read ahead. You can read 2 or 3 sentences before in the part which you didn't understand, or you can just go ahead with reading another 2 or 3 sentences ahead. The fourth stage is called questioning. Good readers read and think on every page. They always asking questions. Use these strategies during and after reading to ask questions about the important idea in the story. Ask yourself questions about important ideas in the story. Then while reading, ask yourself if you can answer this question. If you can't answer this question, reread and look for answer in the text. Think about what you already know, and what you have read in the story may help you. The fifth stage, which is before last, it's called evaluate. Good readers think about what they like and don't like about what they read. Use these strategies during and after reading to help you form an opinion about what you read. Think about how the author makes the story comes alive and makes you want to read it. Think about what was entertaining, informative, or useful about the selection. Also think about how will you understand the selection and whether you enjoyed reading or not. Summarizing, which is the final stage in the reading process. Generally good readers think about what they have read in their own words. Simply think about the characters. If you are, for example, reading a story, think about the setting of the story, where the story took place. Think about the problem in the story and how the characters solve it. So you can think about the climax of the story also. Think about what happens in the beginning, middle, and the end of the story. Using your own words, tell the important things that you have read. So this is the final process. So that's all for today's lecture. So what to do next? You go to the reading, inside reading book number 3 and read page from 1 to 16. In the next lecture we will learn how to preview and predict the coming events or what is going to happen next. I know it's a bit difficult to understand it without practicing, so don't worry. Next lecture we will practice what we have discussed today very easily. Thank you very much and see you next lecture.